Welcome back, everybody, to Granbury TV. I am your host, David Wood. I am going to have a visit with the Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Ron Mayfeild. Ron, appreciate you coming in today. I know we got lots to talk about, lots of things going on in the school district, and we appreciate you stopping by, taking part of the time to let everybody out there know what's going on.
Sure. We definitely have a lot of things going on. The spring is a busy time of year for school. Lots of activities in academics, a lot of activities in extracurricular, and lots of activities in athletics as well. So,
you know, it seems like this time of the year everybody's starting to get ready and looking towards graduation, but there's still a lot of school left to go.
Well, there is a lot of school, but I've always said when spring break comes, it's essentially over. And a few years back, my mom and dad always told me that the older you get, the faster it goes. And now it seems like when it gets to February, spring break's essentially here, which means it's over. So, but you're right. There's a lot of days left in the school year, and there's a lot of things still left to happen. And we've got a change in the accountability system this year with STARS and end of course exams, and that's got everybody stressed out, from teachers to superintendents and administrators, and the kids are really stressed out.
So how did that get implemented from the state level, or?
Yes, sir. Actually, it started in the spring of '05 in the legislative session. There were a lot of complaints about the tax test, and for example, there were a lot of 8th grade math skills and basic math skills on the 10th grade tax exam, but the students usually in the 10th grade would be in geometry, and so they weren't covering some of those skills, and there were a lot of complaints that the test didn't cover things that were most current. And so the idea of end of course exam came about. So you went from English, math, science, and social studies, 4 exams to pass, to now 12 end of course exams. And at that time, even when I was superintendent in Reagan County, I said, now who thought that was a good idea? And so now we're there now. From it began in 2005, and it comes to fruition in 2012.
Oh, wow.
To where kids, for our 9th graders this year, they'll have to pass 12 or have high enough scores to where that they average out to pass into course exams to graduate in 2015.
Oh my goodness.
And so it can be really tough, because you see, if a student doesn't pass 1 or 2 this year,
right,
then next year they've got next year's test plus these tests at some point. They have 3 chances, 1 in the fall, 1 in the spring, and 1 in the summer. But there's just 5 days for testing, so if you get behind, and then it's going to be really tough. And then if you take the class and then you don't pass it at the end of that class, but it's another semester before you have a chance to take that test again, you can imagine the subject matter that it'd be even more difficult to pass at that time. So, I tell folks it's like this. When we had the tax test, and when you had 90% success rate,
right,
pass, that was exemplary, and that's great. But let's talk about the 9th grade. There's 500 kids at the 9th grade level. Now, if we have 90% pass and we're exemplary, that sounds great. But what if it's exactly 90 and 10% didn't pass? Now that's 50 students. And now within the course and needing to pass to walk across the stage, that's 50 kids that don't walk across the stage. Now see, when we had tax tests, and you had your 10th grade year, your 11th grade year, and your 12th grade year to pass that test. But now these tests become cumulative, and you've got to pass enough of them and high enough scores to where that you can graduate. And so my message is that could be tough. So if we had, say, 50 kids that didn't pass math or, Algebra 1,
Right.
maybe some more didn't pass algebra, some more didn't pass English language arts. In other words, it might be all the same. So
Right.
you might be looking at 50 to 75 kids that in 2015 wouldn't walk the stage because they didn't pass the test in 2012. And so we as administrators work, and faculty and staff are working real hard to figure out how are we going to remediate students this summer that are not successful.
That fall through the cracks.
We've got to take care of our kids. We've got to make sure, because I think you would agree, it's not going to be acceptable to have 50 to 75 kids not graduate.
Absolutely not.
And I can assure you, Granbury ISD is going to score better than 80% of the schools in the state of Texas. That's going to happen. We're going to be better. So we're not the only one with this problem, but this is an issue out there. I think it's going to change. I think they're going to recognize that we can't have that number of students not being successful. So
Absolutely. Now, you touched on it. We have a lot of successful students here in Granbury ISD.
Absolutely.
And local scholarships, let's touch on that real quickly. I saw the number here, 7 million. I'm sorry. 7 million. I'm just not used to looking at numbers that high, Mr. Mayfield. 7,009,761 to 2011 graduates. And they're continually looking at more scholarship offers. Granbury wants to help these graduates get in the best light possible.
Oh, absolutely, and it's so important. And when I came, they were running between 2 and 3 million in scholarships, and the folks at the high school, our counselors there worked extremely hard the last couple of years, and that, as you say, brought that up to over $7 million in scholarships for our kids, and that's just huge. But it goes along with the fact, and it stresses the importance of academics here. And if you see where I'm coming from, when you talk about the importance of end of course, the importance of the STAR test, the importance of academics, it just climbs higher and higher. And then, of course, it's getting more expensive all the time to go to college, so the scholarships are a must for most of our kids to go. And that brings up, that we're having several meetings scheduled to help help parents understand the classes that their children need to take,
Right.
the courses they need to take, and we're starting to really understand the importance of it. Now, Crossland Ninth Grade Center is going to be having a parent meeting on Thursday, February the 9th. It's going to be at 6 p.m. at the high school cafeteria. But it's to talk about what the ninth graders are going to need to be looking at for the courses next fall. Other things that we're doing, our middle schools are having parent meetings to talk to elementary students, particularly sixth graders coming into the middle schools, to start looking at career paths, either in career and technology education or simply pre-AP and AP classes that they'll take throughout their time. It is extremely important. It's so different now than it was 5 years ago, but particularly 10 years ago.
Right.
And, I remember I was a high school principal when they came out that every kid in high school is going to have a graduation plan. And we thought, oh my goodness, how are we going to do that? Well, roll the clock a lot of years forward, where not only does every kid have a graduation plan, we're going down now to fifth graders, talking to them about the importance of choosing what you're going to study in middle school and what you're going to study in high school.
And it's not just on the kids level. I mean, you have to educate a lot of times these parents, because like you said, it has changed. School has drastically changed from when we were going, or from, when our parents knew school. And so they have to be educated and brought up to snuff on what we talk about here, the changes in the testing, the changes in the requirements, the type of curriculum is always it's an evolutionary thing.
It is.
and it happens. So this student, it's an information session, from what I understand, at Crossland Ninth Grade Center. I want to get that out there again. Parents of current ninth grade students. And this will be
correct.
Thursday, February the 9th and it will be at 6 p.m. at the high school cafeteria. So, of course, if you want any other additional information, all you have to do is contact your principal or school administrator, and they'll let you know all about it. But that's a big deal.
It is a big deal, and our we'll be having parents need to be on the watch out. Parents of elementary students need to be watching for those middle school meetings and to start getting ready. And so it is. I can't begin to stress the importance and what's changing in education, how important it is to get a plan. My granddaughter is in the 4th grade, and I was talking to her a couple of weeks ago, and I was asking her about testing and asking her about what she was interested in, getting her to start think about what she might want to do with her life. Unbelievable.
Starts early.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we still have some kids in high school that haven't thought that much about it. I was talking to a grandmother of one of our students back in September, October, and the grandmother told me that her granddaughter was getting kind of scared because she had figured out that all of her friends are fixing to go off to college, and she hadn't thought much about that.
Yeah.
So my encouragement is to, regardless of who you are, where you are, start thinking about getting your children prepared to go to college.
And have a plan.
And
set that plan, and you can start that plan even like at this information session, the 9th grade level. I mean, as soon as you get in, I mean, these tests and the curriculum, like I say, the evolution of it has just really amazed me. My daughter is in the 5th grade, and she's learning things that we didn't take on until we were in high school. So
yeah, you don't want to try.
It's kind of baffling.
STAR exam that she takes this year. You wouldn't want to.
No, I wouldn't want to do that.
You wouldn't want to do that.
I wouldn't want to do it.
No, we don't. You and I, either one don't want to do it.
It would not be fun. Would not be a pretty thing. Now let's talk about some of the great things that are going on, because boy, we've got a lot going on. Touch on the science fair. The science fair was something else. We had a lot of remarkable students there, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, not as many students this year as we've had in the past, but the projects there were really good, and the kids did a great job. And at one time, a lot of kids the teachers required the kids to have a science project, so you just had the Bridge Street Conference Center was just full. Well, that requirement's dropped away, but one of the reasons it's dropped away is the preparation of the kids for the STAR.
Right.
And those exams. And, you have to prioritize. I mean, teachers are having to prioritize. Administrators, we're having to prioritize. So we didn't have as much participation in the science fair, but the ones we had are really good. Look forward to them doing well in the regional science fair and coming along. But our history fair, we did have a lot of participation in the history fair, and so these, science fairs and history fairs, these are projects above and beyond the classroom, and it's just a good all-around project. And of course, there's some scholarship money.
Absolutely.
Some of the folks in town provide some scholarship money for these kids, and then that money then is available then when they graduate and check into college after they graduate.
Absolutely. Band. I like the band.
Oh yeah.
I'm right there with the band. We had, for the first time in a long time, an all-state performer. I want you to talk about that.
Oh, Zach Morgan, of course, John Morgan and Lori Morgan are his parents. Lori was a music teacher for a long time in the district. John's a band director over at AMS, doing a super job over there. I give him, I said, well, did you teach him everything? He said, not French horn. And so Mr. Easton comes to town, and our new band director at high school, finishing in his 2nd year, and they've come a long way. But, this is the first all-state band member that we are aware of since 1994.
1994. That's a while back.
That's 18 years.
That's awesome.
And so I think it's a testimony, first of all, to Zach and his parents for the performance, but it's also a testimony that the band program is moving along. And not just that, but we also had 18 members of the band make all regions, so that's the most that we've had in a while. So the band program's coming along; it's looking really good, performing well. These are the kind of things that'll also pick up scholarship money. You can get all-state; it puts you in that line. If you can win a UIL contest like a high individual or win a team, it puts you in the running for, I think, some of those UIL scholarships, $10,000,
right,
and those kind of things. So
help it a lot.
performance is a key, and so there's money out there and money available when the performance is there.
You know, speaking of the band, Mr. Mayfield, you know, at halftime when I see the other band go out on the field, I feel so sorry for them.
Yeah.
And that's during football season. You know, during football season, I would always get excited when our band would take the field and enjoy the show. And then I always felt so bad for the opposite band. And I kind of had that feeling again here recently at a basketball game that was played at the James Wan Sports Center. They pulled this poor gentleman out of the audience for a shootout. You know,
Yeah.
that Northcutt Financial, they donate money for project graduation for free throws that the girls shoot, and they add it to the kitty, and I think that thing's over $800 now,
I
Mr.
think
Mayfield.
so.
It is just but this poor individual, he came down there, and I think he got one. Was it one? That he
Got one, he did, and I think he shot around 10, so that's about 10%. That would be failing miserably on an end of course
That'd be bad.
exam, obviously.
Now you notice that I'm saving you because I have not said on camera that individual was yourself.
Well, yeah, you know, I think I have a reason and excuse though. The reason that happened
You're setting
is,
her up.
well, the last time I shot a basketball, and I think it was sometime in the late '90s, up at the when you got called out of the Caprock tournament
Right,
in Lubbock at
right.
Texas Tech, and I made 3 or 4 then.
wow.
You know, I made several rounds, so you know, I just made this one, but all my shots were right on target except they fell about a foot short. So I'm assuming they've moved that line back about a foot.
They probably have.
Probably have.
Probably have.
Well, and then when I tried to put a little more power to it to get it to
Right.
well, it went to the side. So, I mean, what do? You know?
Well, I know that you have been working out ferociously since that happened because there is going to be a special shootout this coming Tuesday.
That is
Tuesday, I believe that is going to be February the
7th.
7th. That's right, at the James Wan Sports Center. Folks, you need to come out there. This is going to be fabulous because at the halftime game of the boys' game, Mr. Mayfield and legendary coach Lita Andrews are going to have a shoot-off.
Yeah, I challenged her.
You
for
challenged
that.
her.
Yeah, and I do have to correct something. Not working out ferociously, I've not had a chance to get to the gym to practice.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it may really be embarrassing.
But you're pumping the iron, right? And
No, sir, I haven't done
no?
a thing. You know,
Oh, my
it's just
goodness.
terrible. I had intended to get there, and it just haven't had time. They're working me too hard.
I need to. I'm going to loan you a film. It's called Rocky, and it shows Rocky. He worked out ferociously, and then he went out there and won the challenge.
I'm afraid if I were to try to work out between now and Tuesday night, I wouldn't ever get that ball
Uh-oh.
there. We're just going to take our licks, But I'm going to pay her $5. I'm going to pay Project Graduation $5 for every one she makes. She's going to pay $5 for every one I make. And then Mr. Northcutt's going to pay $10 for every one both of us make. And we're basically going to advertise that night. Anybody else that wants to put. Now, if you'd like to put $5 on every one I make, you're probably pretty safe.
Well, here's the thing, Mr. Mayfield. How in the world? I mean, you're fixing to go into retirement, from what I understand.
Right.
How are you going to be able to afford to pay for everyone she makes? Have you not seen Lita Andrews shoot the basketball?
It's for the kids. You got to donate money to kids for Project Graduation. So it's so important
Oh,
to
my
keep
goodness.
them there that night. This is an important activity here. So
This is an important activity, and it's going to be a great night. And I'll.
well, I might surprise you. If I could just get a little more muscle behind mine were dead on, it would have been 10 out of 10.
There you go.
It might happen.
There you go.
There may be some distractions when she shoots.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I don't know that I would do that, but
No.
there's a possibility there might
There
be
might
some
be some distractions.
Have you got a whistle?
Well, I'm telling you, Lita Andrews, she's got skills of stone. I mean, she's going to drop them.
Well,
Now I will do that. I will.
distractions,
I will do that. I will donate $5 for every one you make, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
For everyone you
You're
make.
pretty safe.
Yes, I'll be there.
You may not even have to have $5.
Sticking with sports. Now, I tell you what. I know you want to congratulate the girls. They have clinched a playoff spot.
Oh, yeah.
In the basketball playoffs, of course, tonight. As we're filming this, they're going to be traveling to Arlington Seguin, and that's going to be a big top-notch game. I mean, it's almost a playoff atmosphere, and whoever wins that basically will have second place in the district. But they are in the playoffs, and they've had just an outstanding season, and it's a young group. Lita's just done it again.
Right.
And the boys have been competitive all year long.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, our sports programs have come a long way.
I think Seguin boys have about 3 D1 players, so there's some fine basketball being played there. Now the girls, Seguin girls, we was able to take them on this court, and hope we're able to again, and hope that we do. And goodness gracious, it's going to be tough. Of course, tonight's the Chamber of Commerce banquet tonight, so you have to kind of pick and choose where you go there. So it makes it tough on guys like me.
Well, I'll be at the basketball
There
game.
you go.
I'm going to support my Lady Pirates.
I'm on the board for the chamber, so I think I've been told I'm supposed to be there. So
there you go.
So I probably won't be at the game.
We'll
so
compare notes.
There you go. There you go.
I'll tell you what. Now, redistricting happened yesterday, and Granbury put in a very unique district. They are in the Fort Worth district, is what I call it. It's an 8-team district. And there are 6 Fort Worth ISD schools, Aledo, and ourselves. And it's going to present a new look, a different type of atmosphere. Some people are excited about it, some people not so excited about it. But it could cost us, as we were talking a little off camera, it could cost a little bit of money at our gates.
Well, so far, my observation for the couple of years I've been here, when we play the Fort Worth schools, we don't have the crowds that you do from a individual community like Aledo or Cleburne or Joshua. We have a tendency to carry more. Even when I come here from out west, when we were at Lamesa and we would play Andrews, we had a gym that seated 2,200, and we pack it out and have to close the doors. And so sometimes that small town atmosphere where people are very supportive of those basketball, and we're just not seeing the crowds come like from Arlington, Seguin. There might have been you were there, and there's probably 40 people maybe in the stands.
Not very much.
Arlington skiing. And so, if we see those kinds of crowds, it could, when you charge for a football game $5 a ticket, and you instead of putting 1,500 people in the stands, say from Cleburne or Joshua like they normally do, well, 5 times 1,500, that's $7,500. And if you only end up putting 150 people, well, you just lost about $7,000. So we could stand to lose, $5,000 to $7,000 a football game, and we could stand to lose, probably $500-600 every basketball game.
It will help, though, I think, in exposure, being with the bigger city schools, and with exposure and some opportunities for our athletes. But that is something to watch, and something I really, honestly, until today, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, but aside from that money, I think what we want to make sure that we are competitive, and that we go in there planning to be tough in that district. It's no secret Aledo's going to be tough in football, and tough in volleyball, and tough in basketball, and I'm sure all of the sports. And so we'll have our work cut out. But what we want to do in some of those other schools throughout the years, you've seen them go a long way in baseball. You've seen them be very competitive in basketball, and some of those. So the key for us is to not worry about the money. Let that take care of itself, and then be competitive, and we bring out the Granbury crowds and make up the difference.
It's going to be an exciting time. Now, on the football team, they came out with their academic all-state.
Oh yeah, great list of kids there. We've got
what a list.
seven of our young men, and these were all starters. And we had a good football year, better than they'd had in a lot of years in the past. And so you have to think that it helped having some kids that on the football team that knew what they was doing.
And you have to take that too on the academic side, meshing in with the sports and everything, that there is and there has been in the last several years a change in just the field from the classroom to the athletic field, that the responsibility level is being met by these students. And that's kudos to the kids, but it's also kudos to the staff.
It is kudos to the staff and the coaches. They're helping the young men get their grades and understand. But whether you're talking high school level or college level or even the pros, when you look at those winning football coaches, they'll talk about football players, but they'll talk about their smart football players. They'll talk about that they know the game. They're students of the game. So, we got to have students of the classroom, and we got to have students of the game to be successful, and that's what it takes this day and time.
Absolutely. As I'm looking down here, I want to mention these 7 because, boy, what a great deal to be an academic all-state member. Quade Gibson, Brent Condit, Slade Boynton, Michael Horn, Nick Tull, Dakota Morgan, and Tyler Jones. I mean, that's a great list. And
those are great young men.
Oh, absolutely.
We recognized them at the board meeting last month, and just outstanding young men. Son-in-law material there is what you have in these young men.
Yeah, she's not allowed to date until she's 30.
Oh, okay. I understand.
We do have some information from the swim team. 15 members advanced to regional.
They had a tremendous performance, and you just got to hope. Then the year before last, we had a relay team make it to state. So you got to really be pulling for these young men and women that qualified for regional, that they'll be able to take our swimming on down to Austin at the state meet. Now, if you want to talk commitment and dedication, and every time I talk about our swim team, I talk about dedication and commitment, because we don't have a pool.
That's right.
In the wintertime. And so these young men and women are up in the morning at 4:30 and 5 o'clock, and they're leaving on a bus to go to the practice swimming there in Fort Worth, and then they're back, and then they go to class. And they've already been to Fort Worth, had their swimming workout, and they're in class when most kids barely got up and ate breakfast.
I've seen them in weather that I would not even think about not wearing a coat. I've seen them at the city pool training and working out.
That is
That's
correct. Dedication and commitment and hardworking young men. My hat's off to them. I have to tell you, not only would I have not been on the swim team because I probably wouldn't have the ability, but simply doing that, I think I'd have had to find something else to do.
Yeah, me too. Because I'm kind of like a stone. I kind of like.
My hat's off to that group.
I got a lot of buoyancy, but it's just towards the bottom. Of course, the softball player recently bound for a college team.
Yeah.
Bailey Spencer.
Yeah.
Western Oklahoma.
Absolutely.
Well, that's exciting.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to going and watching her play. This spring and whatnot. I'm tickled to death to get a chance. And the softball starting up. I mean, they're getting ready. Well, man, you think about it. We got powerlifting going on. We got basketball. We've got baseball starting, softball starting. We've got swimming going on. We've got tennis going on.
Soccer.
Soccer. Girls and boys soccer. Our girls and boys soccer team are doing great.
They're
boys
taking
have
on
won 2 tournaments.
2 tournaments.
Yeah.
In Abilene and Aledo.
And there's no flies on that.
No.
I tell you, that's good stuff.
That's big stuff.
I'm really looking forward to our soccer team, maybe boys and girls, advancing like they did last year. They advanced 3 or 4 rounds.
Yes, they did.
Year.
Yes, they did quite well. And I kind of feel like this year it's going to even be better.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Let's talk, before we get out of here, the Granbury ISD Education Foundation. Now, explain to people what that is and what it does and what's fixing to go down.
Okay, when I was in Fort Stockton, I had started to read about Education Foundation. You started to see them crop up at places, and one of the reasons is funding started to cut back. Different districts started putting together Education Foundation. They set up a 501c3, and so when somebody needed, to donate if they had a tax problem, they would donate to the Education Foundation. Now, I was working to start a foundation and was really busy and hadn't got it started. And one morning I received a phone call, and a guy wanted to take me to dinner. And so I met him at 11:30, and he said, my boss needs to spend $1 million on education in the next year.
Wow.
And I'm superintendent at Fort Stockton. I said, wow. Well, it ended up the next 2 years, we collected from him over $487,000 each of 2 years. And that's great. And so when I came and I looked at the number of $1 million homes that we have in Granbury, now I'm thinking if we have that many $1 million homes, somebody's got some money, and somebody out there may have a tax problem. Somebody may need to donate a certain amount of money to education to offset taxes that would help them. And so I wanted to start. I started with that, started with a small group of folks, and we ended up hiring a consultant, and she came in and has been working with us now for about 6 months. And she's taking it a step further. We're going to have about 25 board members. These are folks that understand finance, understand money, several bankers on it, different folks. And so there'll be a board that'll determine where these funds go. And so I was kind of thinking we'd get the 501c3 set up, get it in place, and then we'd wait for somebody that had a tax problem to bring it in. But they're going to go a step further. They've already been going to the campus, sharing with the faculty and staff about making application for some special programs to share with kids. And then they're going to have a fundraising push here in the next couple of months. And so what we're going to be doing is trying to help offset some of the loss of funding that we received from the district these last year, and provide opportunities for teachers and students to do something special.
Oh, wow.
in class. So it's a great program, and I was talking to a person yesterday about becoming a board member, and I was sharing with them that, you know, we may not raise a lot of money for a little while, but once the word gets out, and then when someone does have that $1 million that they need to spend on education, then we'll have the foundation set up, we'll have a board in place, and they can trust that money's going to go to a good cause.
It definitely will. That is a great thing, and boy, I tell you what, the Education Foundation. If you're out there and you're listening to this program and you think, hey, that's something I want to be involved in, you can contact Mr. Mayfield and his staff there. They'll direct you to the right people, I'm sure.
That is correct.
And before we get out of here, I want to say, because it's right around the corner, and I know that graduation's on everybody's mind. I know it's on my daughter's mind, as she is a senior this year, that you get ready for these graduating seniors and the local scholarships that are available. You want to contact, I know Cindy Holt is involved in that, but you can also contact the counseling office for any additional information. I'm going to give you that number, and we'll try to put it up here on the screen, 817-408-4619.
That would take care of it.
Give them that phone call there, and boy, I tell you what, like I said, education, an evolutionary thing. I appreciate you coming in and taking your part of your time to visit with us here on Granbury TV, and I know you'll be back before school year puts out. We'll have you back in, and we can update our viewers. As today, appreciate it very much.
Take care.
You've enjoyed Ron Mayfield Show here on Granbury TV.